There are times in life when we go through difficult times. There are times you are faced with some problems and you really don't know how to go about them. You look up, you look around you, and it seems you are clueless. Problems so big that you feel so small, giants. They stand before you and it seems you can't move forward. How do you deal with the giant of joblessness, of sickness and disease, of a failed marriage, of heartbreak? When these come our way, we are often confused. I dare say there is none of us who can live through this part of life without facing giants. And giants come in different forms, but they all come usually in one size, gigantic. As we go through life, we often face some difficulties, and at times we really don't have a clue on how to get over these difficulties. Today I want to share with you how you can overcome great difficulties, and I'll be drawing a lot of inspiration from the book of 1 Samuel 17, the story of how David was able to defeat the great giant Goliath that defied the army of God. You may be facing your giant at the moment. No one actually leaves this place without facing some problems. And these problems are not meant to break us, but these problems are meant for us to grow. These problems are meant to reveal the goodness and the greatness of God in our lives. So the question is, how do we defeat giants? From the story of David and Goliath, this much we can learn. To be able to defeat giants, we must learn not to listen to what popular culture teaches us. Popular culture teaches us that when we are faced with difficulty, we should look within. But this we saw from the story of David and Goliath, that David did not look within, but David looked upward. To be able to overcome the problems and difficulties of your life, you must first learn to look upward, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. We must learn also to look backward, realizing the things God has done in the past. When Saul, who is David, as to how he would be able to defeat Goliath, David replied Saul that previously God has saved me from the lion. Previously, God has saved me from the bear, and this God can do it also. David was able to reflect on the goodness of God in time past and add on to that as a basis of God's faithfulness. We must learn to look upward, must learn to look backward, must learn to look beyond. David saw Goliath. David saw Goliath, but David looked beyond Goliath. Yes, the problem is great. Yes, it is difficult, but learn to look beyond the problem. David saw the end of Goliath before Goliath fell. He said, "The Lord who delivered me from the hands of the lion and the bear will deliver you into my hand." David saw the end of Goliath while he was still speaking with him. We must learn to look beyond our problems. Some persons don't know how to do this. They are so fixated on their problem. Even when they are going through counseling, they don't see any solution beyond the problem. Relax. Look beyond your problem. And lastly, we must learn to look forward in hope. It is when we are able to look forward, that we are truly able to look beyond our problem. This is not denial of reality. This is not denial of the problem. What you are doing is, I know this difficulty exists. I know this problem exists, but I trust God that this is not the end. I trust God that I will see the end of this and I will move to a daybreak of joy and happiness. And after looking upward, looking backward, looking beyond and looking forward, you must act. David did not just sit in one place and start speaking or praying. David ran forward towards Goliath and used the sling and the stone to bring down Goliath. The place of effort cannot be overstated. To be able to defeat your Goliath, the effort you are putting in may not be that which will give you the success you desire. God will accelerate it. God will give you force. God will give you momentum. But take note, you must be ready to put in an effort. The Bible tells us in the book of James that faith without work is dead. We must be ready to buttress our faith by putting into action those things we believe. That was what David did. Now, whenever I meditate on the story of David and Goliath, and when I consider this, especially when I'm facing difficulties, this is what comes to mind. When you ask anyone who defeated giants in the Bible, it is easy for everyone to say David. And that's correct, but that's not the entire picture. In the book of 2 Chronicles 21, 21 from verse 15 to 22, the Bible captures David's men of valor. And we saw in that Bible passage that David had men who defeated giants also. I think this is one of the reasons why we should not run from the giant that we have to face in life. You know, there is this parable that he who fights and run away lives to fight another day. So you know, when you always run away, you develop the habit of always running and you may never fight at all. So rather than run away from your giant, you must learn to stand like David stood. Race towards your giant and start defeating your giants. Because he who learns to fight and defeat giants today, we find it easy to defeat more giants. But more importantly, one of the beautiful reasons why we must learn to face our giants and defeat them is because we inspire others to do same. In 2 Chronicles chapter 21, from verse 15 to 22, one of the men that defeated giants, one of David's mighty men of valor, was Jonathan, the son of Shimei. Do you know who he was? That was David's nephew. Because his uncle was willing, trusting God, faced Goliath years ago and defeated him. Jonathan, his nephew, could draw strength, could draw inspiration from the story of David and Goliath. And when the time came, he was able to stand firm and defeated a giant. Folks, perhaps your testimony is what will give boldness to your children tomorrow. Perhaps the story of your persistence, perhaps the story of your devotion, determination, the effort you put in to overcome is what will inspire your generation tomorrow. Don't run from the giants you are facing. Learn from David and defeat them. You are living a beautiful story to inspire those that will come after you. You know, one of the most amazing things about the story of David and how he defeated giants is how David was defeated by an unusual giant. David was able to defeat Goliath with a sling and some stones he picked from the brook. But years later, in the season of comfort, an unusual Goliath came. David this time fell the Goliath of adultery, the Goliath of sexual immorality. And this is the caution to you and the caution to me. Even as we learn how we can overcome the difficulties on our path, we must learn also that in seasons of comfort, there are some subtle giants that will come and easily sweep us off our feet. We must learn to take caution. Those little foxes, those habits we tend benign, we must learn to tame them. That's why Paul said in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 27, I bring my body under subjection so that after I've preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. We must learn to bring our body under subjection. This is the same Apostle Paul who prayed for people. The dead came back to life. The sick were healed. Those who were possessed were delivered. But Paul did not take glory in all God had done through him. He was still conscious about those unusual giants. So when I said there are times we face difficulties so big that we feel so small, I want you to know also that some of the difficulties we face on the surface, they look so benign. But these are the giants that can easily take us down. We must watch it. Folks, life can be really tough, but there is hope in God's work. We are never alone. The hand that formed us is divine. God has a grand plan for us. And if we are facing a difficulty right now, you have heard from his heart. You have all it takes to defeat your giant. As you trust God, look it upward. As you remember his beautiful promises and what he has done in the past when we look backward. As we look at the promises for us in the future when we look forward, we must learn to look beyond our problems so we can attain the victory we have in Jesus. Have there been times when you were faced with something really difficult? How did you overcome? Would you like to share this with us? Beyond these lessons I've shared with you today on how to defeat giants, how to overcome those difficulties in your life, are there other lessons you would like to share with other persons in this community? I would like to see them. Just type in the comment section. It's been a pleasure having you today. See you again next week.